Evening. How's everybody? Come on, let's wake up. How's everybody? All right, that's what I'm talking about. Believe it or not, this is night number 3. You're at the midpoint, which means, this is hump day and money matters. It really is, but so glad that you've come to be a part of it. Whether you are here in person or via YouTube, you've made the right decision to be a part of Money Matters. Tonight is really a great and wonderful night. The presenters are wonderful. The topics are going to be great, talking about how to get that wonderful credit score and how to understand real estate. And if you hadn't bought a house, how to buy a house. If you have the house, how to make sure you're using it as an asset. All right. Can y'all do me a favor and let's just give the Lord a hand clap of praise. Yeah, that's good. That's good. That's good. We're honored to be able to give Money Matters here at St. Mark, and we're definitely honored to have Arvest Bank as our partner to present this very important information to you. So if you don't mind, why don't you bow with me as I open up with prayer. Father God, we do say thank you. We're grateful that you've allowed us to make it through this day, and we're grateful that you have ordered and directed our steps to be a part of this Money Matters class. I ask, Father, that you will touch the hearts and minds of each and every person and minister to them as only you can. Give them strength and wisdom to put into practice these wonderful tips that can help them with their finances. Father, I ask that you will anoint each presenter as only you can. I pray for debt elimination, for credit restoration, for the ability to buy new homes, to save and invest for the future, that our financial health will reflect our spiritual health. We say thank you in Jesus' name. Amen. Let's give it up for our first presenter. Marcus Gwynn has been here from the beginning, and let's give it up for him one more time.
Thank you, Pastor T. Appreciate it. Good afternoon, everyone, or good evening, rather. Going to be a jam-packed night, so glad to see everybody here. So hopefully we will give you some information that will help you improve your credit score. How's the family? Family's good? Okay, good. You know, Candace is not here, so I would try to bring the energy that she normally brings. But I'm just telling you, you just can't do it like Candace does it. I mean, she is truly one of a kind. So, but I would try. All right. So, understanding credit. So, I like to kind of walk around. Is that okay? If I kind of walk around just a little bit? All right. Okay. So, if I stand behind you, don't get nervous. I won't be there long. I'll move. Okay. All right, so understanding credit. So first of all, Arvest Bank is really proud to be a sponsor of Money Matters, and really Arvest Bank really does want to be your partner and wants you to know about your credit. We're concerned about how you understand your credit score. You know exactly what makes up your credit score, what goes into your credit score, and we're going to get into the meat of what makes up your credit score, so you would know exactly when you leave tonight. There will be some practical things that you can do, that you can put into action starting tomorrow, that's going to help you improve your credit score. So we want you to know how to use it, why it's important to maintain a good credit score, and so we'll just kind of jump right into the presentation. So first up, we'll be glad to discuss any financial solutions with you. Again, these are tips, and so I have to give this quick disclaimer because we're not attorneys, we're not lawyers, we're not credit counselors, we're not advisors. These are simply some tips that we're sharing with you to help you improve your credit score, okay? All right, so first up, so what is a credit bureau? Basic question. So what is a credit bureau? So basically, a credit bureau receives information from you about how you pay your bills, and they make that information available to financial institutions, banks, credit unions, credit card companies, relative to how you pay your bills. That's all it is, really. That's it. That's what a credit bureau is. They collect information, payment information on you, your payment information every month. Every time you make a monthly payment on a revolving debt or on a installment debt, they collect that information, then they make it available to financial institutions. So there are three basic, or not basic, but three credit bureaus. So there's Equifax, there's TransUnion, and then there's Experian. So all these companies do the same thing. They collect the information on you, and they make that information readily available to finance companies, credit unions, credit card companies, things like that. Okay, so let's get into really the sample credit bureau. How many of you had a chance to actually pull a copy of your credit report? So good. Okay. So annualcreditreport.com. There's a little bit of confusion about the .com piece from last weekend, but hopefully we got that squared away in the emails that you guys got. So if you're online, you can actually go to stmark.org and or just go to the St. Mark website. All of this information is available for download on the St. Mark website as well. So everything we're talking about this evening will be available to you to download this whole presentation that I'll be going through. So let's talk about your credit report. So first up, this is a sample from TransUnion, by the way, that's in my slide deck. But if you have a TransUnion, if you have an Equifax, or if you have an Experian report, they look a little different, but they all do the same thing, and you can see exactly what your credit report looks like. So at the very top of the credit report, there's information about you. So there's the personal information about you, information such as your social, your date of birth, your address, previous employers. So that brings me to my first tip of the night. So make sure that this information is correct, because if there's an address that's not yours, or the information doesn't belong to you, then that could mean that there has been some type of identity theft going on. And so identity theft is really rampant right now. So pay attention, make sure that the information is accurate. I know it seems basic. I know it seems like, it's like a no-brainer, but you would be surprised at how many credit reports we look at where this information is actually not the customer's that's actually sitting in front of us. So if you will, just make sure that the information is correct and that it is yours. So that's the very top of the credit report. Okay, as you move down the report, then you'll start to see public records. And these are things that like bankruptcies, civil judgments, tax liens, things like that will appear in this midsection. These are bad. These are not good. So if you don't see them on your report, that's a good thing. We don't want to see these on your report, okay? If you have them, that's okay. We'll talk a little bit later about how to maybe clean some of this stuff up for you too. So if you got some of this information that may be impacting your credit score and bringing your score down. We're going to give you some tips to how to write letters and dispute the information, and hopefully get your credit score back up a little bit. Any questions so far? I don't want to go too fast, but I do want to leave time, get through this to leave time for questions. So, no questions? All right, we'll just keep moving. All right, so next up, adverse accounts. Collections, things like this, bad. We don't want any collections on your credit report. So basically, a collection is an account that's been charged off, and either the bank or the financial institution or the credit union has sold it to a collection agency so that they can collect it. And so what typically happens is these collection agencies, they will buy these accounts from the bank for pennies on the dollar. And so if you owe the bank, let's just say $1,000, we might sell it to a collection agency for $500 or $300. But if they collect the full $1,000, then of course they make a profit, and that's how those guys stay in business. But adverse accounts are not good. It is always a good idea if you are having an issue with your bank or credit union, don't care which one. If you're having an issue, go and talk, sit down with someone, go to your bank, go to your banker, sit down with the relationship banker, financial services representative, a loan officer, someone, and sit down and talk with them about options that you have if you run into financial difficulty. Because here's the deal. If you approach your bank early enough, the bank generally has some options for you. Sometimes we can defer payments and give you a break so that you can let your cash flow kind of catch up with your income. Sometimes we can refinance. If there's enough equity, for example, in your house, then we can do a home equity loan, for example, and maybe consolidate some debts for you to help you out and give you one payment. So the biggest thing that I like to mention when we talk about this section is just make sure that you're communicating with your bank, because we can't read your mind, but we are there to help you, because believe it or not, banks are not in the business of, well, we don't enjoy repossessing items, I'll put it that way, because it takes time. Generally, if it's a vehicle, for example, if we have to repossess it, we've got to store it, we've got to recondition it for sale, and so all those things cost money. And so it's always a great idea, to go and try to work something out with your bank if you're having any issues with collections or any past due accounts that could be going to collection. So this particular section, again, adverse accounts is something that's negative on your report. So pay attention to that, and make sure that if you can avoid those, that would be the way to go. All right. So let's talk about satisfactory accounts. Again, every credit report looks different. This one has okay, some have check marks on them. So if you pay on time, it's going to say okay, or there'll be a check mark there on your particular credit report. And actually, the credit bureaus have really done a good job over the past several years of making these reports easier to read, because now it's a check mark if it's 30 days. I'm sorry, if you pay on time. If it's 30 days, it's a simple 30 days past due, or 60 days past due, or 90 days past due. It'll be a 30, 60, or 90 here on most reports. This particular one has an X or an OK. And again, X was nothing was reported that month, but OK is paid as agreed. And by the way, so it's voluntary for your creditor to report to the credit bureaus. So, and we'll talk about it here in a little bit, but when you purchase a vehicle from an automobile dealership, it's voluntary to report your payment information to the credit bureaus. So sometimes you might see an X where something wasn't reported. That's okay. Most companies report on a monthly basis because they realize how important it is to credit reports. Questions about that? So a check mark's good. Okay is okay. And X is not bad. Okay, just nothing was reported that particular month. Yes, ma'am.
If they don't report, can you ask them to report?
It's voluntary. You can ask them, but we can't really make them, but you can certainly ask them to, yes. Because every time they report, it helps you, and it helps your credit score, as long as the payment's paid on time, yeah. Mhm.
How would you get them to report it if they didn't want to, or how would you be able to have that happen?
Yeah, I would just simply ask them, and again, most reputable companies will report automatically. Some of the buy here, pay here dealerships may not report on a monthly basis, or they may not report it at all. And I would just simply ask them to and plead your case. I mean, explain why it's important to you that they report. But at the end of the day, it's up to them.
The reason I ask is because I'm almost paid off on my car loan, and it didn't show up at all
Yeah.
on my credit report, like at all.
Yeah, all that good history was lost. Yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
No problem. Okay, so let's talk. So satisfactory accounts are good. They help improve your credit score. So good job there. I'm sorry?
I have a question.
Yes.
Well, since that good history was lost, do the banks take that into consideration?
No, because we have no idea of knowing what the history was, if payments were paid on
Even
time
if
or
you had
not.
proof of that, y'all wouldn't take it into consideration?
We typically go by the credit
Okay.
report. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's unfortunate, but sometimes that happens. Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about credit inquiries. So sometimes you may see these pre-approved credit card offers that you just randomly get in the mail, and it's like, how did they get my name, and how did they get my address, and all that good stuff. So let's talk about credit inquiries, because there are two types of credit inquiries. So one is a hard inquiry, and then the other one is a soft, what we call a soft pull. And so hard inquiries come from you applying for credit. So you physically going to apply for credit, you fill out an application, and they pull, you say it's okay, and they pull your credit report, and they take a look at it in an effort to extend credit to you. So that's a hard pull. A soft pull would be something like an introductory credit card offer, and it's really just a way to get your information to send you. You didn't sign up for it, you didn't ask for it, but you get something in the mail. But they didn't pull a hard pull where it affects your credit score. It's a soft pull in which they do not affect your credit score. So sometimes if you apply for, or if you want to rent an apartment, if you are going to purchase insurance, depending on how they do it, it could be a hard or a soft pull, but just pay attention to the hard pulls. The soft pulls don't typically affect you. And so, again, credit card companies have done a really good job of explaining all this to you in the credit report that you can get each year totally free from annualcreditreport.com. All of this information is in there. It spells it out. It spells out what a hard pull is. It spells out what a soft pull is. And it would also tell you if you've had a hard or a soft pull when you go to annualcreditreport.com. So did anyone pull the credit report and see a soft pull or a hard pull that they didn't know about? No? All good? Okay. Good. That's great. Okay. All right, so let's see. So that's credit inquiries. So let's talk about the actual FICO score. So what is a FICO score? It's the same thing as a credit score. We just call it a credit score, but it's referred to as a FICO score in the industry, but we just call it a credit score. Catch up to you here. All right, so there are components to your credit score. So this is it. This is it. If you don't pay attention to anything else I've said so far or anything after this, this is the meat of the credit score right here. So your credit score, 800 plus, is exceptional. So over here to the right, it explains the makeup of your credit score. I'll come back to that here in just a second. So 800 plus is considered exceptional. If you have a credit score that's above 800, so you're well above the average in the industry. So it's a really good credit score. You should be able to walk into a bank and just about get anything you ask for. Now, subject to, the credit score is one thing that bankers look at. The other thing is your debt to income ratio, or how well you can pay your debts. So you can have a really high credit score, but if your income is low or you got too many debts already and you can't cover those debts at a comfortable pace, then you might still get decline. And we answer this question a lot. Customers ask, why did I get decline when I have a credit score that's so good? Well, the credit score is one component of the analysis that we look at as bankers. Again, so if you've got a really good credit score, that's great. But if you have a lot of debt, then that's not so great. Because we have to make sure that your current level of income can support not only your existing debt, but the debt you're about to be approved for. So we factor all of that in. We add all of those debts up, including the new debt, and then we add up your income, all of your income, and then we do what we call a debt-to-income ratio. And so as long as that debt-to-income ratio is satisfactory, then you'll be approved for the credit. That's it. There's no magic. There's no mystery to what we do. It's just that simple. Yeah. Questions? Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Question. TransUnion. Why do Arkansas use TransUnion more than any other places? And TransUnion always have your score the lowest.
So I can't answer that. I don't know why TransUnion is a favorite. I know our bank uses TransUnion. If you apply for a mortgage, though, however, we're going to pull all three, and we'll pull what we call a triple merge, and so we'll look at all three. And generally, there is some variation. Now, whether or not it's always the lowest, I don't know. I'm not a mortgage lender, so I don't pull three credit reports on a single borrower at a time. So I can't say, but I do know that TransUnion is a favorite. Perhaps there's a trust factor there. Perhaps there's a historical factor there. But TransUnion is a favorite, and it's the one that our bank uses too. But they're all good, and they're all just an indication of how you've handled your affairs. Good question. Other questions? All right, so 800 is good. 740 to 799, very good. So you're above average there. And really, when lenders are looking at, or banks are looking at financing for you, this is just one indication of how well you handle your affairs. So how well you handle your bills, how you're responsible with repaying your bills. This is just one indication of how you're doing that. Not the only indication, it's just one indication. All right? And so exceptional, very good. 670 to 739 is still considered good, so you're slightly above the average for most consumers. And so most banks can consider this a really good score. Our minimum score is 640, I believe. Yeah. Yes. So it's just right close to the 670 minimum on this particular chart. And then anything below 640, I'm going to say below 640. This chart says 670, but anything below that, then we need to work on getting your credit score up near 800. And I'm going to tell you exactly how to do it. All right, and then anything below 580 is considered poor, and we've got to do a little bit of work. Okay. So pay attention to this slide on the right-hand side here, because notice 35% of that chart is how you pay your bills. It's your payment history. So 35% of your credit score is made up or impacted in how you pay your bills. So you have to pay the bills on time. You have to pay your bills on time. I cannot tell you how important that is. If you are not a numbers person, you don't like paying bills, that's okay. That's okay. Auto debit. Most banks, most credit unions have auto debit. So they'll automatically draft your account every month. All you have to do is make sure your money's in it. All right? Auto debit's a good way to go. So 35% of your credit score is made up of the payments, how you pay your bills on time. And it's okay to pay your bills 1 or 2 days early. It's okay. I know it's a myth, but it's okay. I've actually met customers who actually pay 1 month ahead their utility bills. I'm like, okay, if it works for you. If you want to pay your car note 1 month ahead, that's fine too. Or you want to make lump sum principal payments to help reduce the amount of interest that you owe over time, that's okay too. But 35% of your score is payment history. So notice the next largest, 30%, is the amounts owed. So let's just say, for simple math, you have a $1,000 credit card, and you charge it up to $900. You only have $100 wiggle room there, right? So let's say that same $1,000 credit card that you have, and you charge it up to $300. So you got $700 worth of wiggle room over here, right? So that room, that wiggle room, that's what that 30% is on this chart. It's amounts owed. So if you have a credit card, do not max it out. Do not max it out, okay? So the next chart will tell you really 20 to 30% utilization on that credit card. That example, $1,000, so up to $300. That's all you need to borrow on it. You borrow that, pay it back, borrow it, pay it back, borrow it, pay it back. That's going to help to increase your credit score. So that's going to improve your credit score. Questions about that? That's just one credit card. Okay? All right, so 35, 30, then 15% is the next largest number up there, and it's the length of credit history. Back to the young lady who talked about making all the payments and didn't get credit for it. This would really help you in that case, because every time you make a payment every month, the credit bureaus are tracking it. And so the more history you have of successful on-time payments, it's in your favor. But notice those three scores that I just touched on, the 35, the 30, and the 15, that is 80% of your credit score. Think about that. If you want to improve your credit score, 80% is right here. Those things I just mentioned. Question D?
A quick question.
Yes, sir.
So let's assume I've got a minimum payment of $25 on an account. Now, you know what? I'm just going to pay $2 next month and skip this month. Does it hurt my credit score? How many points would it hit me for?
You know, it absolutely hurts your credit score because you skipped a month.
Okay.
And so we report monthly to the credit bureaus. And so although you paid 2 months this month, that doesn't help you, because next month we're going to report that you did not make a payment. Now, what generally happens is when you overpay, the amount that, like if your minimum payment is $25 and you pay $50, the extra $50 could go to principal, or sometimes it goes towards your next payment. It depends on the bank. So some banks will apply that $25, that extra $25 to next month, and that will help you. That's not going to hurt you. But if the bank applies that $25 to principal, it's like you didn't make a payment that second month. It will be as though you didn't make a payment the second month.
So let's say that's a revolving loan you're talking about. I'm talking about like a credit card loan.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's just $25.
Right.
My credit score is 750.
Right.
So typically, is that score going to go down between 30 and 40 points just because of that one payment missed?
It'll be a lot. I can't calculate exactly, or I don't have the exact formula to pinpoint, but yes, it will go down significantly. You would be able to tell a difference between your score from 1 month to the next. And you would be amazed at how far it drops. For just
So would you suggest a certain way to pay those every month so you're never late? Is
Yes.
that something you would suggest?
Yeah, so we talked about auto debit. I like paying bills early. I don't like owing anyone, so so I just like paying bills a little early just to make sure I'm not late.
Okay.
But auto debit, or set up some type of spreadsheet. We talked a lot in here about budgets. Monthly, once you establish your monthly budget, you know which payments are coming out of which paycheck. Once you have that set up, and then you'll know and get in a routine where you're never late.
So
It's
just
like
put it on
clockwork.
auto pay, huh?
Correct.
And my last question, I'll let you continue class here. So let's say I got this $25 a month payment. It's due on the 10th. And on the 5th of the next month, that I make that payment. How does that affect my credit?
I didn't get to
Yeah,
catch the
let's think about-
second part.
Let's say the bill is due on the 10th, but I don't make that payment until the 5th of next month.
Right.
How does that affect my credit?
Yeah, so if the bill is due on the 10th.
Okay.
And you go past month end, when we report to the credit bureau.
Okay.
Without paying it, then we're gonna report that you didn't make a payment,
Okay.
even though you paid on the 10th.
So it depends on the payment cycle, right?
Correct.
So typically, if the bill is due on the 10th and I pay it on the 5th of next month, so it's not past 30 days, is it?
No, it's not.
But-
But it's past the cycle that banks report to the credit bureau.
Got it. Just want to make clear on that.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Good point.
Whenever you get a new auto loan, like a lot of people have to buy a new car unexpectedly, and let's just say, or you pay your car off. Why are you being penalized and your debt score is dropping, or your credit score is dropping because you paid your car off? Because a lot of us want to be debt free.
Right. So it shouldn't negatively impact your credit score. Now, if you buy a new car, that's a whole nother story because you have new payments and all of that. But length of history is one of those things that impact your credit score. So the longer you have a debt, the more favorable it is to your credit score. So if you buy a car and you pay it off early, that's good, but you only have a short amount of history. And so that's the impact to your credit score. The longer the history, the more it's impactful in a favorable way to your credit score. Good for you that you're paying it off early, but in the history of, in the credit score world, the longer the history, the more history you have, sends a signal to bankers and credit unions that you're responsible and you're disciplined over a longer period of time. Yeah. Question?
On that note, when it comes to car payments, if you have a car payment with a higher interest rate, but then your credit score improves, I know I've heard of you refinancing your car payment
Right.
so that your loan is less. What is the, and I've also heard that that's not good, that you shouldn't do that you shouldn't refinance. So
Well, it depends. So, again, credit history, when you think about, credit history and how this score works, you need history. You need to make your payments on time, and then your revolving or your available debt or your utilization, all those things go into that equation to help you. So it depends on a lot of things like the cost of, the original cost of the car, how much you paid it down, at the point that you refinance it. But generally speaking, if you refinance a car, you're going to refinance at a lower rate, so you're going to save interest that you pay over time. Or I was talking to another young lady before class that you can also make lump sum payments on that same car note and reduce the amount of interest that you pay over time, because keep in mind, the interest is calculated on the balance every month. So when you make extra payments and you pay the balance down, then you, by default, you are lowering your interest, which is not a bad thing.
thank you.
Fabiola, I think you had something to say, or you were trying to chime in?
I guess she needs to turn on my phone.
Yes.
All right. Good evening. I wanted to follow up on a question that he had about the late payment and not being 30 days. Even though the payment may not be 30 days, chances are you're going to get charged a late fee because your payment was not done, right, by the due date. Even if the due date falls on a weekend, it's, again, important that you look at your auto debit or your payment scheduling when you're making paying your bills to pay on the business day before your due date. That also, we've seen that if it's due on the weekend or holidays where, again, whenever it posts to your account, it will be considered late, hence a late fee attached to that. Somebody asked about paying your card note early. Why is that? There's a penalty, right? And Marcus, of course, answered the length of history that you have on your credit report is important. As a rule of thumb, lenders are going to look at least 24 months. You know, have you consistently made your payments on time for at least 24 months, so at least 2 years. It's great if you paid early, right? You pay less interest, as he mentioned, over time. But if you're trying to establish solid credit history, you're starting up, that's always something to consider too. All right. Thank you, Marcus.
Mm-hmm. Good, very good question. So, yes, sir.
So, I was always told this, so I just want to know if it's true or not. So, say, for instance, you pay down your debt to zero balance, and you decided, well, you don't want to get in this situation again, so you decide to close the credit card down. Now, I was always told that once you do that, it'll affect your credit score. So, is that true or not?
That is true. If you have a lot of history out there on a credit card, let's just say you've had it for 7 years, and you paid on time 7 years, then you close the account out, then all that history is going to eventually go away.
So basically having some type of debt is really a good thing. Okay.
Yeah, and we say debt is like leverage, and it's almost like if you're trying to move a big boulder. If you got this big rock that you're trying to move, and you got this small rock, and you got a piece of wood. I'm from the country, so you got a piece of wood, and you're trying to move this boulder, right? Leverage helps you move this big rock. So if you think about debt as leverage, so debt helps you achieve your financial dreams, right? So you borrow money to buy a house because you want to buy that house. It's an investment. You want to keep that house. You want to pay the loan down. You want to develop equity in that house over time so that when you sell it, you get some cash back. So leverage is when you borrow that money from the bank for a short period of time to make sure that you can buy this house to develop this equity in your home. So when you think about leverage or debt, think of it as leverage. Also, think about debt can also, if you have too much, so if you have too much leverage, it can go the other way. So, pressure bursts pipes. So if you got too much debt, it's a lot of pressure on you. And, I've been married 24 years, and I can tell you, my wife, she would tell you, we've been married 24 years. 22 of those years have been extremely happy. 22, yeah. Anyway, y'all will catch that on your way home. So when we first got married, we had debt, just like most young people do. And but I can tell you guys, some of the most heated arguments that we had was over money. I mean, when you get your money right, I'm telling you, your life is going to be easier. Debt, if you think about it as leverage that you use for a short amount of time, I don't want to preach to you, but that you use for a short amount of time, and then you pay it back. If you keep that concept in mind, then you'll be good to go. Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
So to piggyback off of his question, for example, if you have a student loan that has been open for 20 years and you're almost done paying that off, but you have a revolving line of credit that has been open, let's say, 5 years. When you pay off your student loan, which has been open 20 years, would your credit score drop, or because you have another form of credit, would that remain the same?
Yeah. So it shouldn't drop. It depends. There are a lot of factors that go into that. I mean, that's not a real simple question to answer, because what happens is over time, credit history starts to trail off. It starts to drop off. And so if you immediately get a new credit or debt that you're making monthly payments on, and you're making those payments on time, assuming all those payments are being made on time, then your credit score shouldn't drop. So you should just keep rocking and rolling because you've got a good history continuing, and you've got a good track record of timely monthly payments that are continuing. So that shouldn't make your credit score drop. If it did, maybe we can talk offline, but it shouldn't. There may have been some other factor that could have impacted it.
I was just wanting to clarify. We used to be told to close accounts to avoid credit card fraud. So I know now we're in the computer age.
Right.
So what do you suggest? Do you leave a certain number open to continue that? Because you have a lot of them getting hacked, and a lot of accounts being out there that you don't even know about or you forgot about.
Right.
And somebody's hacking them.
Yeah, so it's always a good idea to not have too many credit cards. And one of the things that negatively impacts your score or hurts your score is having too many credit cards. If you have too much debt out there, because think about it, if you go apply for a credit card at Dillard's, for example, and they give you a $2,000 credit line, and you go and you apply for Lowe's, they give you a $2,000 credit line. You go to apply for just a regular, Visa card, and that credit line is $2,000. So you got, $2,000, so you got $6,000 worth of availability out there. And so what happens is, because you can go and charge those cards up at any time, if you have too many credit cards, it hurts your credit score because you have the ability to go and charge those cards up at a moment's notice. So we caution you about having too many credit cards. How many is too many? It depends on the individual. 2, 3 credit cards. Sometimes what we say in this class is if you have a credit card that you don't use, the next time you fill up with gas, use that card and then pay it off at the end of the month. So there's some activity on that card and a good payment history for that month. If you want to pay your cell phone bill, there are cards out there that will give you points for paying with credit cards and things like that. Just be smart about it. So having a lot of credit cards, it hurts your score eventually. Because if you're not disciplined enough to not use all of that credit, eventually you'll start seeing those balances creep up and creep up and creep up because it's too easy to use. You go to the mall, you go to Dillard's, you see that new parachute. No, I'm thinking about my wife now. So, but you go to the mall, you're going to see something you like, and you're going to probably pick it up and purchase it. So, question?
I was just going to say something I've learned to do is to lock my card after I use it if I'm not going to use it, because if you lock it, others can't use it.
There you go.
And you have the ability to lock your cards now. And also, what Fabiola said, most people forget sometimes that there's a time zone, and you might pay your bill on the right day, but if you miss that time zone, they're going to say you paid it the next day.
That's correct.
So you're going to make sure you're paying it the day before or before 5 p.m. because you're going to be in trouble sometime.
Right. And that's why I like paying bills early, just to make sure that nothing like that happens. Yeah.
But you're going to be in trouble.
Yeah, that is true. All right, so some things that help your credit score. I've got Jamil, yes, all right. I have to leave some time for her, and then we have to have a break for dinner. But so I'll hurry through these last slides. So long-standing credit history of paid off loans, we talked about. Typically that will help your credit score, but just know that every month they sort of trail off, those payments trail off at some point. And then all of that history, if you paid off a loan, eventually is going to be lost. Things that hurt your credit score, we talked about credit lines being maxed out, or credit cards being maxed out, having too many credit cards, late payments, no credit history. Why should that hurt your credit score? Interesting. But if there's nothing to compare it to, I mean, typically with college students, they don't have any credit history, and usually that results in some type of co-signer type situation. So parents will co-sign for kids many times to help get them started and establish credit history. So who can view your report? We've talked a little bit about this, touched on it, but basically financial institutions, lenders, car dealerships, Apartment hunters, when you rent an apartment, you apply for insurance, they typically pull your credit. Employers, that's a good one. So sometimes when you apply for employment and they're thinking about hiring you, they'll pull a copy of your credit report, especially if you're dealing with money. Because if you can't be responsible with your own money, then chances are you're not going to be responsible with theirs. So sometimes that happens. And then you have the option every year through annualcreditreport.com to pull a copy of your own credit report so you can take a look at it. So next up, we got some other tips here. So establishing and reestablishing credit takes work and time. Do not pay off the full balance until you receive your statement. Once you receive your statement, pay off the statement amount to avoid interest charges. So a lot of times if you charge something, you have like this 30-day grace period. But if you go 31 days, then you got to pay interest for the full month. So make sure that you pay attention to the fine print there. And then we talked about co-borrowers. I've got a highlight on this section because be careful with co-borrowers. I'm slowing down on purpose. Be careful with co-borrowers. When you co-sign for someone on a loan, guess what? You are a borrower. You are just as responsible for repaying that debt as the person that you're co-signing with. Okay? I'm talking slow on purpose. You are just as responsible as the person that you're co-signing with. Okay, all right, so types of credit, installment credit, basically car loans, retail stuff, boats, RVs, motorcycles, mortgage, second mortgage loans, CD secured loans. Revolving credit is credit that, well, let's back up here. Installment credit basically is credit that you get all the money up front and then you make monthly payments and you pay it back. And once you pay the loan off, that's it. So that's an installment credit. Revolving credit gives you a little more flexibility because as you pay the balance back, the amount becomes available to you to use again, over and over again, without having to reapply for credit. So revolving credit gives you more flexibility. It's quicker, it's faster. When you need to access the money, you don't have to go to the bank, you already got it. So once you pay it back, it's available, the funds are available to you to use over and over again, okay? So installment credit gives you more flexibility. Revolving credit gives you more flexibility. Installment credit is just, it's a monthly payment that you pay and make it every month. So talk real quickly about home equity lines of credit. So basically, this is a form of credit where you use your home as collateral. And there could be some tax advantages to doing that. So that's why we have a lot of customers who utilize this for large purchases, emergency funds, or if you just want to remodel a kitchen or a bathroom or something along those lines. Home equity lines are a good tool to use as leverage to get those things done. All right. So last but not least, there are some credit, fraud is running rampant. As you guys know, every time you pick up the newspaper, every time you turn on the news, they're talking about, fraud. So what we suggest is that you have some type of, credit file monitoring, some type of identity theft reporting, stay up on the news, stay on top of, credit trends and things like that, fraud trends, educate yourselves, and keep safety in mind. And when you do all these things, then you'll end up having peace of mind. So that is the end of my presentation. And if you guys have any questions, this is a little gift, little picture of me with the bald head there. So if you have any questions. Yes, ma'am. We got a microphone? She's coming. Thank you, Erica.
Okay, so I know what a co-borrower is, but so I have a credit card. Is that the same thing as on my credit card? I have added my daughter as a user to my credit card just to try to, build her credit up earlier.
Yeah.
So if I happen to miss a payment, would that affect just my credit, or will that affect hers as well?
Affect both of you. Yeah. Yeah. It's a great question.
I actually did that with my daughter.
Yeah. It's a good
I
way to get
added
them
her
started.
to my cards as an authorized signer, and when she turned 18, her credit score was better than what mine was when I was 18.
It's a great way to get kids started. Yeah. And it's an opportunity for you to sit down and talk to them about the importance of credit at a young age so that they know to be responsible as they leave your nest or leave your surroundings. Then they'll be responsible. And yes, sir.
Hey, Marcus, a quick question on, you may have covered, I got it just a little bit late, my apologies, on debt to income. So if a person's trying to buy a house, how do they figure their debt to income? Real simple. Can you kind of tell us what that looks like?
Sure. So
And why it's important?
yeah. So there's a debt to income ratio, and see if I can explain this. I spend the majority of my time on the commercial side of the house, and it's the inverse of the consumer debt to income ratio. But basically, what we do is we add up all of your monthly debt. We take your gross monthly income, not net, your gross monthly income before taxes, and then we divide your debts by your income to get a ratio. And so typically, when that ratio is about 40%, 44, 45, it depends on the mortgage, maybe a little bit more, but typically in that 40 to 45% range. So in other words, when 45% of your monthly income is going out towards your debts, then we kind of have a bar there, because there are other expenses that you have, like utilities, food, clothing, gas, all that stuff that you have to have money left over to pay. So the debt to income ratio gives us an indication of how much debt you have, or how much leverage you have, how much debt, and your ability to cover those debts. So that's really all the debt to income ratio is. So we add up all of your debts and divide it by your income and get a ratio. And so if you're a business owner, then the inverse is true. We call it a cash flow coverage ratio. So it's how much money the business generates to cover all of its monthly debt. Same thing, just backwards. Yeah. Yeah. All right, questions? Mm-hmm.
So say you make a late payment, right? And so say you make a late payment, but you've been A1 for the last 3 years, but when you go to pull your credit report, you see a negative or derogatory. How long does that stay on your report? And is that fair, negative? Well, yeah, derogatory.
Yeah, so two trains of thought there. If you've made 1,000 payments, I'm being facetious, but if you made a lot of payments on time and you accidentally miss one, call your creditor and just say, hey, look at my history. It was just a simple mistake. We all make mistakes. Sometimes they will work with you to correct it. Not all the time, it depends. The other thing is it stays on, those payments, like we talked about, the history. Some credit reports have 3 years worth of history. So if you make that 1 monthly payment that's late, it's going to trail off eventually, but it might take 36 months. It may take 48 months for it to trail off. But one late payment, it'll hurt you, but it's not going to, if everything else is squared away, it's not going to sink your credit score. Yeah.
Okay, so how would you know how much equity you have in your home?
So when you go to the bank or the credit union, and so the first thing we will do is we'll have some type of appraisal or evaluation of your home's value. And so we'll look at that appraisal or that evaluation to see what the value of your home is. Once we have the value, then we will look at how much you owe on your home, and then the difference is going to be the equity that you have.
Okay, so if I took I had like a 30-year mortgage, but I paid it off in 17. Would that hurt me?
No, not at all.
Okay.
That's great. That's what we teach here. Let's pay these mortgages off, you know, at a high level. Now, sometimes, you know, if you're in a high income bracket, there's tax reasons for having a mortgage, or at least a small mortgage balance. But without getting too specific, that's a great thing.
One other thing. There are some accounts and account history that will stay on your credit report for 7 years.
Yes.
So it is very important that you are a good steward of your credit and be responsible with managing, making sure that payments are being made on time, and that you monitor your credit report consistently so that if you do catch an error, you can dispute it and not have to wait until the moment that you are ready to make a purchase or apply for credit. You'll be ready by then.
Yeah. So bankruptcies and judgments, we talked about the bad things on the credit. Those things will stay on up to 10 years. 7 to 10 years is generally the range. Judgments will stay on 7 years. Liens, bankruptcies, things like that stay on a little bit longer, so 10 years. So again, there are times when filing bankruptcy is the best option. I don't dispute that. I would just caution you to be careful and know the ramifications, the long-term ramifications of filing bankruptcy or doing something like that, because it does affect your ability to get credit for a while.
Quick question, Marcus, and quick statement. So if a person sees something on their credit, can they challenge it?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
They can legally challenge it.
They can legally challenge it. There's, as a matter of fact, if you pull your annualcreditreport.com, there's a page in there that it's called dispute file information. And so you can write a letter to the credit bureau, and the credit bureau by law has 30 days to research it and determine if it's legitimate or not. And if they can't determine that it is legitimate, then they have to remove it off of your credit report.
Okay, good deal. And last statement, I want to make this statement. Being in the industry I've been in for a lot of years, I've got clients that got in trouble financially. They had to file bankruptcy, lost their jobs, somebody died, divorced, whatever. And within 3 years, they were able to go right back and buy a new home. So if you get in trouble financially, you just can't make it, use those tax laws, use those laws to your advantage, just like corporations do. So I'm not saying it's okay to file bankruptcy, but I'm saying it's not okay to be stressed out financially. You can't pay your bills and those kind of things.
Right.
Okay? So back to you.
Question? Oh. We'll come back to you. Oh.
So if your credit score is determined as good, but when you're reading the credit score, the actual report, it says potentially negative. What does that mean? It didn't say negative, but it says potentially negative. What does that mean?
Potentially negative?
Yeah. I said, sorry. I was saying that if you have a good credit score, but when you're reading the credit report, it says potentially negative. What is that? What does that mean? Like, is it bad or not?
Were there other comments in your credit report? Like maybe too many inquiries, not enough history?
That's a new one on me, so we'll have to look at your
Okay.
your individual
Okay.
report. So, yeah,
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, it doesn't have like a comment. It just says that.
Yeah, we'll have to look at it offline. That's news to me. I don't
Yeah,
see.
I
it.
have
Yeah,
it. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
definitely fine.
we'll be happy to take a look at it. All right, that is my time. Remember, 80% of your credit score. This is the secret sauce. That's it. If you want to improve your credit score, focus on those three things: payment history, length of amounts owed, and then length of credit history. Okay? All right, that's my time. Thank you all for your time and attention. Appreciate it.
who's talking? No, I just need to know who's talking. You're talking? Okay.
She got me. All right, now, so we'll bless the food. If you would bow with me, please. Our Father, which art in heaven, we ask that you would bless this food for nourishing our bodies. We always want to pause and reflect and say thank you. Lord, before we ask you for anything, we want to thank you for everything. We appreciate what you do for us. We appreciate your love, your grace, and your mercy. Bless this food again for nourishing our bodies. In Christ's name, amen.
Maison
roll back in and the sweaters will come back out, which means fall.
The food. All right, Tiffany gonna get my. Am I too loud? Okay, I'm good. All right. I love this class. Do y'all love this class? This is a life-changing class. Anybody life-changing in these 3 weeks? Mindset, bank, food choices, shopping choices, kids. I just told Sade over there, I said, now, let me tell you what you do with this little piggy bank on the table, right? You get that to your kids, and when they're in the store, you know, it's a little reminder, and you say, okay, now, do you want me to buy this toy? Do you want me to put this money in your piggy bank? That's a reminder. That's your reminder, okay? I am Jamil Thomas. I've been at this class since the beginning. I started as a student, and now I'm a real estate agent. Earlier, I heard a lot of people say, I've heard people say, people told me, my grandma did. Some of that. Stop listening to people who don't have more than you. Nobody who doesn't have more than me can't really help me. Okay? All right? And I say that because my grandma, I remember when I first started working, my grandma said, you're supposed to write exempt on that tax form. Y'all know what I did on my tax form? I wrote exempt because my grandma told me, right? But as an adult, I look back on my grandma who I love so dearly. My grandma didn't know nothing about them tax forms. Almost had me in trouble with the IRS. All right. Alexia Carter. Is Alexia Carter in this class? Like on site? She just walked out. Okay, let me know when she come back. Okay, right here? Okay, y'all let me know when she come back. All right, so today we're going to talk about real estate. We're not going to talk about just owning a home. We are going to talk about owning real estate and using it as a tool with benefits, okay? And so we'll talk about some extension things. Am I ready to go? There I am. This is my family. Y'all met my husband in the first session. We have a 3-year-old that's going to be 4 next week because she told us today she's tired of being 3. So we tired of her being 3. My husband and I have a company called Thomas Legacy Services, and actually what we do is help people build real estate portfolios, okay? Help you decide what's best for you and help you grow that over the years through real estate, and we really enjoy doing that. Marcus talked about in his presentation, you know, when your money is good in your house, like you and your spouse good, right? Deacon Thomas told you in the first class, I told my husband, I was like, I'm not marrying you till you go to Money Matters. No, that first date was cool, you know, little Valentine's gift, that's cute. But in the spring, they're going to have a Money Matters that's like, Mark, I'm going to need you to be there. That's what means a lot to my heart. But we really enjoy what we do and just the strategies and the concept. Even if you just take one thing from this class, those of you that have been here before, even if you just take one thing, it's going to start changing your life for the better. And not just your life, but the generations after you. Like I have so much now to give to my daughter that my parents did not have to give to me. They didn't have this information. At 75, my daddy was just getting this information because I was teaching it to him. He had worked, retired, all the things, and never had financial literacy. I asked my daddy, I said, Dad, why don't you have a life insurance policy, right? Because y'all know I'm getting this notebook together, right? And those of us that have older parents, we have to think about us, but we also have to think about our parents, too. And so I was like, Daddy, where your life insurance policy so I can put a copy of it in here, put the number. He was like, I ain't got one. Who? Who put you in the ground? Okay, I turned into a whole hour. And I said, very simple question. Why not? Why not? And my daddy told me, he was like, well, when I was working, nobody really talked about that being important. And when they asked me about that on my job, that was $30 that I didn't have extra because I was paying for y'all, right? Okay? I would have much rather you been paying that $30 on a life insurance policy than for me to go to tap dance, all of that. Let's find that some other place, okay? And that was it. And so I was like, oh, Lord, I got to pay to put you in the ground. I was like, you got a pension out there? How we putting you in there, right? But real, honest conversations is how that came about. So let's talk about, this is just our office. We started out as a small business. We opened 15 years ago. 3 years ago, we actually franchised with Century 21 just because we have more benefits. We still we're independently owned and operated. We still run our office. We have about 36 agents now. We started out with 4. And we focus on not just selling people stuff. That's not what we do. We help build communities. Like right now we're working with the Black Mayors Association to go into some of these communities and say, hey, let's look at the assets that you have from a real estate perspective and see what can we do to transform those assets to help your community to continue to have money over the years, okay? I'm too far away? Okay. Why invest in real estate? So real estate is a long-term savings, right? You have to live somewhere. If you pay rent right now, if you're paying $1,000 a month rent, I don't know where you stay, but if you're paying $1,000 a month rent, that's $12,000 a year that you will never see again. You literally gave that to somebody else, okay? A landlord. Do you know what the landlord do with that? Turn up, turn up, turn up. Huh? Vacation. Buy their kids a nice car when their kids graduate, right? Buy their wife a diamond at Christmas. Like, turn up, right? Do you know how hard you work for that $12,000? Some of y'all don't even like your job. Like, huh? Right? For me to just hand it off to someone else. And so when you own real estate, you got to pay to live somewhere. So you're investing in yourself. When you're paying that monthly payment on your house, that's going to come back to you, right? The Lord is a Lord of return. Come on, somebody, okay? And that's one of the benefits of owning real estate is that it's coming back. Retirement. Some people invest in a house just so that when they retire, it's paid for. Right? I don't have to worry about that bill when I'm retired. Me and my spouse can afford to travel. We can afford to do things for our grandkids, right? Because I don't have a house payment, okay? A wealth generating tool, and we'll talk about the breakdown of that a little bit later. But when you own real estate, it goes up in value, okay? Real estate has been here since George Washington. Ain't went nowhere, okay? You drive around town, what you see? People still building. Whether it's apartments, whether it's houses, parks, schools, still building, okay? Construction and real estate is going to be here. There are also tax benefits for it. We talked about values increase, and then they help build healthy economies. When you think about areas where it's home ownership and people own the homes in that area and they live there, they got nice parks, huh? Nice schools, right? Nice football field, nice stadium bleachers. Y'all know what they look like where they own the houses at, okay? And so we want to really focus on the benefits of real estate for you. Alexia Carter? Crater. Yes, ma'am. Everybody say, hey, girl. Hey, girl. Hey, y'all. Let me tell y'all about Alexia. I got an email. What time did you email on that first Monday morning? No, Tuesday morning. 2 minutes after if y'all don't know, I send your emails, okay? Most of them. 2 minutes later, with all her homework done, like the spreadsheets, okay. So we got this $50 gift card for you, because y'all know how you click send and you can't even move to the next message, because I'm like, who already got a question? Like, Lord, I just pushed send. So thank you. Our best appreciates your participation. Bless you a little bit with that. So let's talk about average home sales prices. So in the United States right now, average home is about $416,000, okay? Now if we flash back 10 years ago, that same house was $389,000, okay? You tell me what kind of assets you can own that appreciates in value that much in 10 years. Not very many, okay? Right here in Arkansas, our average home price is about $300,000. We're right at $299,000. 10 years ago, we were at $207,000. Huh? Tell me about an asset appreciating. And you have to think about it. It's really an asset that's not costing you much, because look at this. You was going to pay rent anyway, right? So let's do that, okay? The government is so nice to you. Y'all know they ain't nice about a lot of stuff. But they nice about this. They say if you own a home, the interest that you're paying on your loan, we're going to allow you to apply that with tax benefits in tax season, okay? We appreciate you for owning. Thank you for investing in your economy. Here's what we're going to do for you, okay? All right? So, and then on top of that, you're saving your money inside of your house, okay? So if you decide, you know what, I'm tired of this house, we're going to call Jamil, put this for sale sign out here. I want something else, or I want to move out the country. I don't care what you want to do, okay? We're going to put it for sale. And most times, we're going to sell it, and you're going to get some money back. Okay? It's kind of like cash back credit card. Okay? You're going to live in this house. They're going to give you some money back when you decide to sell it. Okay? Questions for me? Any questions for me so far? I talk fast because Marcus be taking a long time sometimes. We want y'all to get all the information. So buying versus rent, Marcus talked about you're building equity. Equity just means you're saving money inside of your house. The value of your house is going up, okay? You're owning this asset. And as it goes up and you're paying your payments, you got a little nest egg growing over here, okay? You're not even looking at it, right? You just, you're looking at them kids in there, but it's just growing. You don't even know it's growing, okay? You don't have a landlord. Nobody's telling you what to do. You actually get to be a whole adult in your, am I a whole adult in my house? I don't think so, because I got a 3-year-old. Before she came, I was a whole adult in my house. Home value is increasing. There's tax deductions and benefits there. And then your fixed payments, okay? For the most part, your payments stay the same. What increases and may cause your payment to change is taxes and insurance, okay? Won't have no control over that, all right? Everybody wants their money. And the biggest thing we saw with insurance is when the storm came through, the tornado, I'm sorry. If you live in the area, they got to pay for what the damage happened, and they kind of passed that bill on to us, okay? So that happens. It's more flexibility than renting. When you rent, there's no maintenance responsibility. You have a landlord, which is cool, but how much is that costing you? Okay, because that's actually a fee that you're paying for inside of your rental payment, okay? And then your rent can change, right? Okay, 12 months they decide, hey, today's Tuesday, I want another $150. Wait a minute. Hold on. Let's talk about that. Can we negotiate? Right? I've been here 3 years. Let's work on this, okay? But we have no control over that, right? Because it's not ours. We don't own it. So in this class, we talk about your monthly spending plan, right, which Candace has gone over that in depth, I know. And then Marcus just went over the credit. So when your spending plan is in what we call the black, okay, you got a little extra change. Y'all found. Am I good? There we go. You want me to be still or be quiet? Oh, okay. I don't know. Y'all know Tiffany, my cousin. I don't know. She might be like, I'm tired of her talking. Or is your credit, right? You've gotten your credit where it needs to be. So once these two things are where it needs to be, then you're ready to go to Arvest. And Arvest is going to say, okay, we're going to tell you what your buying power is. Okay? You have good credit. You've got your money in the black. So let me tell you how much money we're going to trust you with. Okay, that's what buying power means. I used to be a kindergarten teacher. I like to break this stuff down. Because you go to the bank and you be like, what that mean? But you don't want to ask the person who know. Just type it in your phone and Google it, okay? And so they're going to look at all your stuff. And Marcus talked about DTI, your debt to income ratio. And they're going to say, based on this information, this is how much money we trust you having, right? When you're thinking about a $300,000 house, that's a lot of somebody else's money to trust you with. Okay? I ain't finna give it to you. I need a lot. I want a blood sample. I need to know where your mama stayed, because what kind of car she got. I need to hold something. Let me hold something till you pay the first 90 days. What kind of car you drive? Let me hold that until, let me see if you're going to pay the first 3 payments. And if not, I'm going to keep this car, right? But Arvest is going to tell you this is how much we're trusting you with based on your credit and your spending plan. Any questions about that? They won't be for me. They'll be for Arvest. No? You good? Okay. All right. So, that's what I look like in them glamour pictures, but y'all get the real deal right here. Once you have gone to the bank and they've told you that what your buying power is, get you somebody who know what they're doing, okay? All right? A lot of people say, I don't want to pay no extra money for no real estate or all that. That's cool, but you're going to get what you pay for, okay? One of the things we're running into now with this internet, we love the internet. People people buying cars out of vending machines on the internet now. I just don't know if I want to spend $50,000 and bloop, let it drop down and get it. I don't know. Okay. More power to the people who are doing it. But a lot of people are taking advantage of the internet. They're like, hey, I'll sell you this house, or my family got this land and I'll sell it to you, right? And they like, okay, they just giving cash. Here you go, right? They giving fake titles, just trash, right? And then somebody later goes on to sell it to somebody else, and now they're jammed up because the property has liens. Sometimes the property don't even belong to the person who sold it to you, right? She was talking about fraud with the credit cards earlier. We got people doing fraud with that. They'll go on the internet, see that you own something. They'll contact somebody else, be like, it's not even yours. But because you don't want to get no agent, right? You're going to get what you pay for, okay? This is our job. We love doing this, but there is also a whole lot of law and rules and all of that involved in real estate. And you just want to make sure somebody is going to represent you to where you have a clean and clear transaction, okay? We're not doing no under the table stuff. I want a clear, clean title to whatever it is that I own, okay? And I want it to be mine, right? I want it to be mine and my sister, or, whatever that looks like, me, okay? Now, if I want to buy something with her, okay, but probably not. I want my own stuff, okay? So let's talk about building wealth through real estate. This is an extension. A lot of times, prime example, my great-grandparents, my great-grandfather was a slave born in 1893. And I actually got to know him. I grew up with him. And was able to buy their first little piece of land, right? Got a used Jim Walter home. Come on, somebody, a used one. It was good. Okay? Moved into this little piece of land that him and my great-grandmother bought. My grandma lived in it. My mom and them lived in it, right? And by the time it got to me, it was just raggedy. Just raggedy. And it was in Tuckerman, Arkansas. I live in Little Rock. I am not moving to Tuckerman, right? So what you going to do with grandma's house and land? The raggedy house. Sell it. That's what most of us do. Let me tell you why we don't, okay? Real estate will always have value, okay? I don't care how raggedy it is. That dirt on that ground is always going to have value. If you look right now over there on Pike, y'all see them building these, what are those? Condo, all that pretty stuff on the Arkansas River. If you from Little Rock, you know what that looked like before they built it. Good and raggedy. They couldn't give the lots away. Everything falling apart. But you see the value. So I tell my brothers, I said, you know what? We're going to tear the house down and we're going to put something there because that is value, right? What we have been taught generationally is pass grandma's house down, okay? What it meant to my great-grandparents to own that house and that property doesn't mean the same to me. It also doesn't carry the same value of what it meant to them. But what I can do is I can take a little of my pocket change and go to the bank and ask them for a little of their pocket change, and I can build something new. I'm put me a duplex there. I want 2 streams of income, okay? You shouting? You happy? Say with me, come on, The land didn't cost me anything, okay? I got good credit, right? Because my spending plan was together, right? I'm managing my money correctly. I went to the bank with confidence. Let me tell y'all something. When you got good credit, you don't even be scared to go in the bank anymore. I used to be scared to go in the bank because it'd be like, I don't know what they're going to say. But now I know my real credit score, and I just go in there and say, hey, I don't even say Marcus sent me anymore. I used to use Marcus. Now I just go in the bank. I say, hey, we need to get a line of credit. This is kind of what we're looking at it doing. So can you tell me what the timeline on that would be? Not if you're going to give me the money. What's the timeline? Hello, somebody? That's what good credit do for you, okay? Now I have an asset that my great-grandparents passed down, right, that is now going to create wealth for the next 70, 80 years, because that's the average age of a property when it's maintained and all the things, right? But for me, it's more than that. Now I don't have to worry about paying for college for Danny K. It's paid for. Some renter gonna pay it. But also, let me tell you the extension of the value, right? Now that property has value, right? Okay, I got 2 tenants in there renting, but I want you to see this. The property itself is worth something. Remember I told you real estate appreciates in value. So if I need to go to the bank and get some more money, guess what I say? I own this duplex over here. Can y'all let me borrow some money against it so I can go build me another one? Now I own an asset. I got 2 renters. I got streams of income coming in. And based off that asset, I'm finna go build me another asset. And all the bank wants me to do is pay them back. Y'all know how I'm gonna pay them back? Huh? If you're a renter in the room, you paying them back. If you're a renter in the room, you paying them back, right? Because I'm gonna use the renter's payment to pay the bank back. Hey, God is good, right? Okay, but right? So that's how we find value in real estate, not just owning a home, right? But an extension of what we can do when we own real estate and stop giving away grandma's house so somebody else can get rich off of it, okay? One of the things I love about us being our own company is, we get to spend our dollars how we want to spend them. If you don't invest in your community, nothing will happen, okay? That's why Arvest does this class. This is an investment into the community so they can give us what we need, right? So we can create wealth, which will continue to help the bank grow and make our communities better. We can't wait on anybody else to do it. That's our responsibility. So everything that we do when we get people from this class that buy or sell or whatever, then we make sure we're investing back into this church. $250 every transaction. We don't care how many it is. Okay? It comes back so that the work can continue for the community. Okay? And that's important. For us, it's important for the bank, and it's important for our kids to move forward with stuff. Where I'm at. Questions for me? Questions for me? Everybody like, wow? Who grandma got a house? Yes.
My question was when you said, and this is just for I'm just truly ignorant to this process, like whenever you, thank you.
That's for the people online, yeah.
So whenever you were talking about, you had the duplex and then you were borrowing again, you went to the bank because it acquired, what'd you say? Sorry, it acquired equity.
Equity,
yeah,
yes,
it acquired
got that.
equity, so you were able to borrow against your duplex. Did that affect your credit score whenever you did that?
You're going to keep good credit.
Okay.
The better your credit is and the more you manage things the right way, the bank will keep giving you
As long
money.
as you're paying your stuff back, they
As long
don't
as
care.
you're paying your stuff back.
Okay.
And keeping your credit up.
Thank you.
Hey, ma'am.
Hey, how are you?
I got lots of friends. Yes.
When you talked about the duplex, please elaborate more on the benefits of building or purchasing a duplex versus a single household, a single family household building. Can you also touch on the benefits of building a duplex and living on one side and then the renter on the other side? And like you said, using that income to cover the cost and then working toward building another one.
Exactly. So let's talk a little bit. I'm not a banker. I'll let Fabi verify. With an FHA loan, can we still build up to a fourplex with that? Are we still able to do that? Multifamily on the...
It depends.
It depends. Come on, Marcus. It depends.
Normally, if I'm not a mortgage lender, but normally FHA loans are for your primary residence, right? It's a program. And that's why they would, anytime that you're looking for investment, second homes, they're going to geared towards conventional mortgage loans. If you're looking to do investments, then that is part of business banking lending, right? Because you're in it for income earning property. So again, it depends where you're at, in life, the usage, the purpose of that property.
Yes, but primary home, FHA, does it have to only be a single family home? Well, no.
I don't know that.
I believe it
answer.
does, yeah.
Okay.
And again, we're not mortgage lenders. and
Okay.
That's a very specialized product, but generally it's for single-family
Okay.
residents.
Because if you're doing a duplex, chances are you want the other one, right, to be an income-producing property, so that is dual purpose for that.
Okay, well, we're going to do it. We're going to do it, okay? Let's talk about how it works.
Another question?
Yep. Oh, sorry. We didn't answer it.
Oh, yes. Oh,
You don't see how Marcus be rushing me? I already be going fast because I be behind him. So she just wants to talk about how it would work, right? So it usually takes the same amount of money to build a duplex as it does to build a single family home. They're essentially the same size. Like you can build a 1,600 square foot house, you can build a 1,600 square foot duplex, okay? You can live in one side, you can have a renter in the other. All right? Benefits of that is that now your renter can be paying your mortgage, okay? All right? You're living free. You don't have a mortgage because the renter is covering that. Now, the money that you would be paying in mortgage, Deacon Thomas is going to take that and show you what to do with that in an investment, right? So now you're growing wealth twice on that asset because he's going to invest it, which you're not spending on, right, a mortgage. And then the asset itself, the duplex, is going up in value. Y'all follow me on that one? Okay. And then when you tired of staying there, or your kid don't want to, or they want to move out and move to them real bougie apartments, no, because you're going to get out there and you can't afford it, and I got to help you pay for them, so you're going to stay right here in this duplex and you can pay me rent. Come on, somebody. They don't want, okay, help them. Help them. Does that work?
Okay. So I kind of have like two questions. So my dad died, and his home is located around by the downtown area where they're building up downtown. The city have been sending us letters about buying his home because they are building up down there. I want to keep the home in the family, but my brother want to sell it to the city, which is not good. Yeah. No.
Well, it depends on how much what the father say, it depends.
Yeah, cause they downtown, so yeah, they building them downtown. And my second question is, okay, I was kind of in my feelings because they.
Come on, in your feelings.
Yeah, I was in my feelings because they're knocking down trees in my subdivision and finna build a whole new homes around my subdivision. So I was kind of in my feelings because I was like, Lord, we finna get all these new peoples in this subdivision. But I got a letter in the mail. It made my property value go up. So I was kind of in my feelings. So she, and then we was talking. She was asking me was I gonna sell my home, but then you was telling me about I can rent my home out and let my renters pay my mortgage on my new home.
And on you two assets. The choice is yours. If all them new neighbors get on your nerves, your property value has increased on your house, go get you another one. And get you some rent. And own you two assets. And call Deacon Thomas so you can invest that the right way.
My question is, I moved to an area, like she was saying, and they cut down all the trees, but they build apartments all around me. Did my property value go up or go down because of all those rental properties?
It depends. Depends on like the age of your home, what the new value of the apartments are. But you also have to look at the people who own the apartments. That value has increased for them, like the owners, right? Like if it was just land, there wasn't much value there, it's just land, right? Now they have put a structure there that is income producing that could cause your value to go up.
Oh, okay.
But it would just depend. Now, if you said public housing, then we're gonna pray about it.
No, I don't think it's public.
Okay. If them renters over there paying $1,300 to $1,500 a month,
Yes, they are.
okay, I would ask the landlord, how can I invest? Are you looking for a silent partner? You making money, I want to make money too. Any other questions for me? Yeah.
So how do you know when it's a good decision to actually start moving into, because I know you had to slide with the, if it's going to hurt you or if it's going to help you, but like, how do you know if it's truly going to help you moving into a house at that time? Or like, how do you kind of determine that?
Yeah, so that's how we have our team, right? That for real. Like, you pick up the phone and you call us and you say, hey, I'm considering purchasing a home, okay? You got Candace, she's going to be the tax and the money person, right? You got Deacon Thomas, investment. You have Marcus, he's the bank for money. You got me, I'm real estate. So we'll look at it as a whole, right? And say, okay, because we know if you're paying rent, you're losing. Sorry, that's just how the game works, right? You're steadily throwing money out of the door. And so we'll look at what type of real estate would be good for you, right? When I was 24 and single, the type of real estate I needed was a duplex, okay? I didn't have no kids, 2 bedrooms, 1 bath. That was straight for me to have a tenant on the other side making money, and I was able to save, right? I got a family, okay, that looks different now, right? But you don't let the duplex go. You and the family go buy a new home. Now you have a piece of real estate that is paying for the next one. So everyone should own some type of real estate. Okay, everyone. Even if that means you own a parking lot and you lease parking. Come on, somebody. You lease parking to a food truck, to an institution that's next to it that doesn't have parking, right? Y'all go downtown, you see they own the parking lot. And you got to pay to park on it, okay? That's someone owning real estate that is making them money. Okay, so the type just depends on what it looks like for you. Yes, sir, Marcus? No? Okay.
This is some really good stuff. So
Good stuff. Questions? The beauty of it is, like I said, it's been here since George Washington. It's never going away. Y'all see it. She just said they throwing up most stuff behind her, right? And one of the things, if you go into the older neighborhoods, you'll see is that back in the day, there used to be 4 houses on an acre. Like, if you go in these old neighborhoods, they got big yards, right? My daddy didn't have big yards, okay? Then the builder said, oh, wait a minute. I can make more money if I put 6 houses on the acre? Huh? On the same acre? Wait a minute. You done told me if I put 8, I can make more money on the same acre? Then y'all done hit her with them tiny homes. Huh? Okay, same acre. We put about 10 tiny homes on there. I did. I drove out to Sherwood. They got a little tiny home community in the cut. And I was like, they making money. They making money on that acre, right? Yeah, question.
Okay, this may be a silly question. So I know we talked about your homeowner's insurance going up because I know mine have went up. But do the interest rate go up as well? Because my interest rate on my mortgage loan has been the same for 4 years, and I think it's pretty good, but I'm just wondering will it eventually go up, or does that stay the same?
Depends on what kind of loan you have, but if your loan is a fixed rate, then it should not change.
Okay.
Okay, the rate. But insurance and taxes can increase. Well, not her principal payment, right, Marcus? Yeah.
yeah, I mean the escrow, insurance and taxes
Yeah.
can cause your monthly payment to, but the interest, if you got a fixed rate loan, then the interest will not go up. But Jamil, one thing that I was thinking about is if the city is offering you, sending you letters, trying to buy your property, that's an indication of the value of that property
asset.
because they see the future value of that property.
So you have to
That's a
figure
free
out.
tip.
Your job is to get with people and figure out how you capitalize on that asset to have what they planning for.
That's a free tip.
Free tip. Yeah. I'm glad you said grandbaby too. I told y'all about my grandma. So one of the conversations my husband and I both have is that our child will never start at zero. You know, we joke about, you heard trust fund babies. We joked about that. Rockefeller is on the 7th generation of wealth from a trust fund. His 7th generation of grandkids never have to worry about money. That's what I want my baby to be. There's no reason that she shouldn't be, right? All of us in this room, and I'm not saying everybody did, but no one should have had to start at zero. There should have been something to pass to every generation. So my husband and I talk about now, it stops with us, okay? It stops with us. When we check out of here, life insurance policies, investment accounts, real estate, she will have access to. Now, with some rules. Now, she got rules. Okay, she can't just turn up or else she gonna be at zero, right? But when you look at Rockefeller and you look at the Walton Foundation, they have structured those monies with financial planning to ensure, can y'all imagine it? 10 generations, I'm not saying 10 years, 10 generations from now, they will still have money. And not just to be rich, right? To have wealth is to have freedom, right? How you feel when you go on vacation? You be good. How you feel when you go back? I don't want to go in here with these folks. Huh? But can you imagine never having to worry about that? Can you imagine every day of your life being, hey, y'all meet me in Cabo this weekend. Oh, y'all got to go work. I'm sorry. That's where we going to be. That's where we going to be. Right? But realistically, like, that's what a trust fund, and David's going to come in, our attorney, he'll come in and talk more about that. But why would you want your kids to start at zero? Why do I want my kids to have the same struggle that I had? It is no reason. And when I think about my grandparents or my great-grandparents and that house and that property, if somebody would have told them how to turn that into a trust fund, right, we'd probably be good. But nobody gave them the information to do that. And so for generation after generation, we've started out at zero with hardworking grandparents, parents. Now my husband and I being hard workers. Not to say that my daughter won't be a hard worker, but she will definitely not start at zero. She won't have to work too hard on that end. Yes, sir, Deacon Thomas, come on up. Anybody else, other questions? We good? Okay, come on up. 2 minutes. Thank y'all.
She gave me 2 minutes.
Oh, I'm fine.
Hey guys,
This ain't
give it
fine.
up. Give it up for Marcus and Jamil tonight. They did a wonderful job. I just want to make one comment. She said something was very important, very profound. She said, you are buying a home whether you want to or not. Did you guys catch that? You are buying a home whether you want to or not. Can somebody tell me what that meant? So that money going out every month is going to buy you a home or it's going to buy somebody else a home. So I'm going to encourage you tonight, get the fear out of your system and find out where you are. You know, if you want to buy a home, you don't own a home, start the process, take action and find out where you are. Take a look at your credit, take a look at your income, take a look at your job history. Give yourself an 18-month, 24, 36-month program to become that homeowner if you're not a homeowner. Tonight, it should stop tonight. You see, you know what? I'm not going to buy anybody else's homes after the next 36 months if that's you, if that's what you want to do. Of course, it depends on where you are, right? Secondly, Did you guys get your debt plan stuff put together? From the last class, we talked about homework of putting together information on calculator.site.net. Did you guys put together your debt plan? Okay. Is everybody caught up on their homework? If you're caught up on your homework, raise your hand. All right. Marcus, do me a quick favor. Did you guys do two things? Go look at the people that raise their hand and say they caught up on their homework. Raise your hands if you caught up on your homework. I want y'all to go look at their homework book and see if everything's in there. All right? Yeah, we're going to be off in a minute. Go take a look at their homework book and see if they caught up. It should be a credit report in there. There should be a cash flow sheet in there. There should be all kind of information about their insurance and stuff in there. Who's caught up on your homework? Look at their sheets. Who's caught up on your homework? And that book probably your book should be this thick. Who's got the thick homework books? I want to see it. Oh. Any thick homework books? Now, who's totally caught up? Are you caught up? Check her homework right over here. And make sure her credit reports are in there. 81 pages? Okay. Who? Danielle? Okay. Anybody else? Got your homework done? Okay. Where's your debt plan from the other night? Debt plan. Where's the debt plan? Look for that debt plan. Look for the debt plan. The debt plan should be a printout. The debt plan should be a printout. If you don't have the debt plan inside your homework, then your homework's not done. Do you have your debt plan inside your homework? Let me check yours real quick. We got 2 minutes. We're going to be done. Got to get out of here. Okay, good deal. Okay. Hey, I am proud of you guys. That did your homework. Now, what about the people who didn't do their homework? Why you didn't do your homework? Hey, listen. Here's the assignment. Here's the assignment for next week. The assignment for next week. Okay, calm down. We're closing out. Here's the assignment for next week. Go back and do the homework you didn't do last week. And I'm adding pages 11 through 14 for the homework for next week, okay? This next class is going to be on debt. It's very, very important to get all this stuff done. We're going to break down what debt really does to your life, okay? Make sure we get that done. I think that's about it for the homework for tomorrow. We don't want to load you up for the next class because we want you to make sure you get all your debt stuff done and get that cash flow sheet together next week. We're going to check all your homework next week. We're going to be giving out some of these cards next week. Next week. I'm going to give this card tonight to a lady called Danielle. Come up here, Danielle. Bring your book. Bring your book. I had a chance to sit at Danielle's table and I was pulling people books. Danielle, I was so impressed. She's got everything in this book. All her credit reports, they're all organized. Her debt plan, her cash flow sheet, everything's in there. Everything. Guys, this is what we're looking for. And I may send one of you guys table next week, okay? Danielle, this is a $25 gift card for doing a great job, okay? Give her a hand. All right. Thank you. All right. Don't look at me like that. I looked at your book, too. All right. Let's get it right early. All right, good deal. Hey, Pastor, we got a discipleship pastor tonight. Come on here and close us out. We got to always use him when he show up, guys. This is Pastor Ernest Thomas. He's the brain man of all this educational stuff. Give him a hand as he comes. And thank you again, Arvest, for such a great job. All right, guys. All right.
Hey, thank you once again for being a part of tonight. I know you got some great stuff to help you, and when it's all said and done, all of us going to have that 800 credit score and have that nice home with equity in it and know how to make that work for our benefit. All right? Why don't we give it up for all of our instructors for just an awesome presentation tonight. Let's pray. Father, we just say thank you once again for this ministry. Thank you for allowing us to participate and be a part of it, whether it was in person or virtually. We say thank you. Now, Father, we ask that you will be with us as we go our separate ways, that we'll find our home safe and sound. Give traveling grace for each and every person on the sound of my voice. Continue to lead and guide them, that they can be the CFO of their personal finances the way you want them to be. And we say thank you in Jesus' name. Amen. Have a great evening.
All right, thank you, man.